Hey friends, in today's video we are going to do some extremely satisfying fall cleanup, and we are going to be planting some tulips. I'm calling this video extremely satisfying fall cleanup because it is. When you put your garden to rest for the winter, it is very satisfying. It's a great feeling. We only have 150 tulips from Longfield Gardens. That sounds like a lot, but it's not a lot. By all intents and purposes, I could plant all 150 in this one bed, but I'm going to divide them between the two beds. So I'm going to do 75 in each bed, and then I have some late double blooming tulips, 30 of them from just a big box store that I'm going to plant in one of these little beds. And then we're going to do some garden cleanup. We're going to cut back our peonies, or you might say peonies. So what I decided to do, since I have two different varieties of tulips and I use my tulips as annuals, that's why, oh hello, excuse me. When I use the tulips for bouquets, I will pull bulb and all, or if I decide to leave some, which I probably will do, for my family, myself to enjoy, and others that come here on the farm to enjoy. So we do have the Tulip Triumph Brilliant Mix. There's 75 of those. They bloom mid-spring, and then I have an early spring bloomer that is called the Tulip Single Early Prince Mix, 75 of those. So what I'm going to do is just mix them together. In the beds we will have some early blooming, some mid-spring blooming, and then, as I said, the double tulips are more late spring blooming, so they can be in that bed and they will be just fine. So what I'm going to do to mix these together is just count out. I'm not even going to dump them all together. I'm going to count out because I know I need so many in the front part of the bed, so many in the back part of the bed, and then they'll make up the 75 per bed. See a couple that might be a little iffy. This one is very squishy, so this bulb is no good. It's squishy. That's a bad bulb. That won't work. So we're going to go ahead and just replace that, and you're going to have that happen. Now, this is a good bulb. It's very solid and great, in great shape. You're going to have that happen. Here's another one that's bad. This is a bad bulb. And that might be my fault because I ordered these back in September. They've been sitting in my office. So it may have came from the company this way, or it might be my fault. I've had them in a fairly cool place, but I've just been holding them back because I don't like to plant my tulips too early. If I planted these in September, they would start saying, oh, let's wake up and sprout. And it was just too warm when I actually received these. So I like to wait. It's November the 3rd now. I like to wait for my zone 6B/7 until it gets a little bit more consistently cooler, especially at night. So I've already prepared this bed. This bed is 6 feet long by 3 feet wide, and it is 12 inches deep. It doesn't look 12 inches deep, but it's sunk into the ground. We buried it into the ground. So it is 12 inches deep. And there's really no pretty way or no easy way to plant tulips, should I say. I mean, let's face it, planting tulips is a fall chore that I don't know that anybody loves, but come spring, we love the end result. This bed is really nice because it has a divider. So that helps me to know I want to plant about 37 of them in this half and 38 of them in this half, because that equals 75, I think. So I went ahead and prepared this bed and just did a little elbow grease and to make the 6 inches down, because you want to plant your tulips 6 inches deep. So it's pretty much what I did. And then I will just place the tulip bulbs, and then I will cover them over with the soil. I've planted tulips many ways. This is kind of considered the trench method. I've planted them, of course, in the ground with my auger. I planted them in crates. I've planted them in containers, just many different ways. So it's just not my favorite thing to do. I just don't know that it's anybody's favorite thing to do, but like I said, we love the end result. So I'm going to go ahead and just dump these. And now that I'm thinking about it, I do wish I had ordered more. I just was trying to save a little money because since I do treat these as annuals, I was trying to save some money. But it'll be pretty nonetheless. Really should have my gloves on, and I should have a kneeling pad out here, and I didn't bring either one. I'm just kind of nestling them down and trying to space them out semi-evenly. This is where the gloves come in handy, and I am going to go get my gloves. So I just take my hand so that I don't displace the bulbs and start with the soil a little bit. And you know, you've heard people say you can plant them, just throw them in there, plant them upside down, whatever. I don't hold with that belief. Pointy side up is the way I plant them. So now I'm just taking the soil that I piled on this other side and replacing it on top of the bulbs. Now what I'm going to do with this half of the soil is just go ahead and put it in the wheelbarrow. I could just put it right on top of that section that we've just finished, but you know, just in case I were to dig down too deeply, get into the bulbs or something, I just go ahead and put it in the wheelbarrow, and then I just scoop it back out. And the drill and the auger doesn't work too well on beds like this. It's just because the soil is loose enough to where it won't make a nice planting hole. So just have to do it the old-fashioned way. All of these beds were turned over several times with cool flowers at the beginning and yarrow and some Rudbeckia annual that I plant as annual Rudbeckia. And then I did some sunflowers for the next succession of both of these beds. I did go and get my kneeling pad and my gloves, as you can see. Yeah, my 65-year-old body needs a little bit extra care, which I don't always give it like I should. So I roughed the soil up a little bit so I could just sort of stick the bulbs down in there rather than dumping them. I think I'm just going to place them. And I probably can plant tulips in these two beds one more year, maybe two more after this, because you know, you risk the tulip fire blight in your beds if you have them too many years. But I really don't know a lot about that. I've just heard about it, so I'm not sure about all that. And they say it can come in the bulb, the fire blight. It can already be in your bulb, so it may not be that you've planted them in the same place, but crop rotation is always a good thing anyway. All right, so we've got all those planted. We'll go ahead and start just doing a little bit of the soil on the top. So we will just do a repeat on the remaining 75 of this bed, and any footage that I show you will be sped up. Yeah, it's going to be the exact same thing. Because I'm running out of room in my pile here, I'm loosening up the soil enough so that I can just take the bulb and twist it down into the soil a little bit farther. Make sure I get the 6 inches planting depth. So I'll do 15 on this side. This bed doesn't have a bar, so I'm just sort of using the center panel here as my center. Hopefully I won't get into the side we just planted. Whoops. These are magnetic lights, solar lights, and I love them. They're so pretty at night. I'm going to go ahead and spray these beds with Repels All here to keep the critters from, hopefully keep the critters from digging. And as I said, I will put some leaf mulch once I make it on top just to condition the beds. I've also used wood mulch that on top of my beds that I have planted in the past. But I think this year I'm just going to do leaf mulch. And there's a spider crawling. I don't know what kind of a spider that is, but I want to give him a... Whoop, he's gone. No, there you are. What spider are you? You go away. Go over there so you don't get sprayed. Okay. This is pretty potent smelling, and it's, you know, it's nothing that's harmful to your bulbs or your soil or the animals. And I kind of spray it around. And you can also water your bulbs in if you're not having any moisture. I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to let the Repels All sort of settle in there. And even if you get rain or you water, this will last for a couple of weeks. Once this soil just settles and the new smell of movement of earth or whatever stops, then hopefully anybody who wants to dig will have moved on by then. And in this bed, I think I will plant either anemones or ranunculus. I love anemones. I love them. So it may be just anemones. And in this bed, I don't know if you're seeing it in the camera, but this is where I had my pumpkins. We will clean this out another day, and this will be cool flowers. I think the last thing we'll do for today's video, because it's going to get too long, is actually cut back the peonies and the willow supports that I have. I have 4 peonies that are actually surviving. I had 6 in here, but only 4 of them are surviving. And as I was saying, I have these willow supports. You can see that the wind, we've had some fierce winds. Now, I just got these willow supports this past spring. They're round and they are not holding up. I got them from Home Depot. So look at that. You see that? They're junk now, really. These 2 might be okay, but this one, for this peony, actually the wind just demolished it, and the wind kind of has demolished this one. So that's basically junk. I mean, you really can't use that again. So I cannot recommend, I wish I could recommend those supports from Home Depot, the willow supports. At least in my area, in my climate, they just didn't hold up. And I should have been weeding in here all along because I didn't bother to take the supports off to weed in between them. So anyway, kind of got a mess. But the good thing of the willow supports is they will eventually break down in the compost, in my big compost heap, you know. So it's not like it's plastic that will be here forever or something. That's the good thing. But what a shame. Look at that. And they're so brittle. I thought I'd get at least 2 years out of them. And they weren't cheap. So next year, I might have to go back to my staking system where I just put stakes in the ground and then I just corral them. That's what I've done in the past. we'll go ahead and cut this one back, and I'll show you what I'm doing, and then I'll just repeat with the rest of them. But I always wait to cut my peonies back when there's a peony farmer that's not far from me and in my zone 6B7/7. And when she cuts hers back, that's when I know to cut mine back. So she has just cut hers back, and so that's when I know to cut my peonies back. First thing I'm going to do is just take my hand and pull out some of these weeds and grass that has grown up in here. And then I'm just going to cut this foliage down, and I'm leaving like 3 inches of the stalk. And so that's what I'm doing. And then this will just all go on my compost heap. And there it is. And there, be ready for the spring. Now, I don't really, I mean, you can add a little bit of mulch if you wanted. I might add some leaf mulch. You don't have to do a whole lot, but you can do wood mulch around it if you want, just to protect them a little bit. But this is extremely satisfying. Part of our extremely satisfying fall cleanup. It's very satisfying to do this, to cut back your peonies. For your peonies, if you're from the north. And the rocks that you see here, there's only a couple left. I just had them there so I would remember they were there when they were first planted, so I wouldn't weed eat them down. So let's see if we can actually salvage at least these two. I did put some landscape staples to hold them down. Let's see. They are very brittle. This one might, I hear it breaking. Oh boy. Yeah, that does not make me happy at all. And I could take time to repair these, but you can see, look at that. See how it's just so brittle. So brittle. Bummer. That is a real bummer. So I apologize if you bought these because of my video. I'm sure I put them on a video. I apologize. I really thought they would go longer. Maybe if I'm really careful with this one. Might be able to use this one again. Look at that. There's a couple of broken pieces, but might be able to use this one again if I put it somewhere protected for the winter. So at least a quarter of success, 1/4 of success. I think that's all we will do for this part of the extremely satisfying fall garden cleanup. I think we'll do a part 2 because the video is just going to get too long. We have quite a bit of work to do in here. I want to show you, I can't wait to show you in the next video how this Agastaki is still going strong. I think I'll film this part tomorrow or later this afternoon, and then I'll show you the video later. But this Agastaki, it's Rosy Posy Agastaki, and it's like, oh wow, I love you. I love you. And also I'm trying to get to where my videos will air on Saturday mornings so that I can have them all edited, ready to go on a Saturday morning. It's a week-long process for me, filming, editing, letting the, after I upload the video, I like to leave it on YouTube for 24 hours without anyone seeing it so that YouTube can do its algorithm thing and know who to push the video out to. And I will say that YouTube is changing for the smaller content creator like myself. It's getting harder and harder, and the views are very slim on the smaller content creator videos just because of the things that are changing in YouTube. But I'm going to stick in here with you as long as I possibly can, and as long as I feel the Lord is allowing me to do this, I'm going to stick in here. So I do hope you'll come back for part 2 of the extremely satisfying fall garden cleanup video when that airs. But for now, I appreciate each and every one of you very much. And especially now, since YouTube is changing for the small creators and it's becoming harder, your support means more now than ever. Until next time, friends, happy gardening and happy extremely satisfying fall cleanup. Bye-bye.